Dear friends, in our next 2 or 3 videos, we will discuss about the completeness property of R. Okay. So already we have discussed about the field axiom of R and the order axioms of R. So first we introduce the notion of upper bound, lower bound of a set of real numbers. For that let us take a non-empty subset of R. Okay. So S is a non-empty subset of R. So first definition, an element U belongs to R, an element U belongs to R is called an upper bound of S if every element inside S is less or equal to U. U is called upper bound of S if every element of S must be less or equal to U, then U is called an upper bound of the set S. Okay. Similarly, we can define lower bound of a set. An element V belongs to R is called an lower bound of S if every element of S is greater or equal to V. Okay, that is an element is called lower bound if every element of that set is bigger than that element, then that element is called an lower bound of the set S. Okay. If S is a non-empty subset of R such that S has an upper bound, if S has an upper bound, then S is called bounded above. So S is called bounded above. S is called bounded above if S has an upper bound. Okay. And similarly we can define a bounded below set. So a set S is called, a non-empty set S is called bounded below if S has an lower bound. Okay, next definition, a non-empty set of R is called bounded. A set is called bounded. A set is called bounded if S is bounded above as well as bounded below. Okay. So a set S is called bounded if S is bounded above as well as bounded below, and a set is called unbounded. It's called unbounded if a set is called unbounded if it is not bounded. That is, either the set is not bounded above or the set is not bounded below. If either is it not bounded above, or this is not bounded below. Okay. Okay. Now we give some examples. So examples. The first example. So let us consider the set 1 by n where n is a natural number. Okay. Since n is a natural number, so obviously 1 by n is less or equal to 1, and obviously this is positive quantity. Okay. Obviously 1 is an upper bound. So 1 is an upper bound of S and 0 is an lower bound of S. Okay. So here we see that upper bound, this upper bound 1 belongs to the set S, but the lower bound 0 does not belong to the set S. Okay. Next observation. So this is 0, this is 1. The set here, the set lies. Okay. S lies between 0 and 1. Okay. So any element bigger than 1, any element bigger than 1 is upper bound of the set S, and any element smaller than 0, any element smaller than 0 is an lower bound of S. So this is a lower bound of S. So from this discussion it is clear that if upper bound exists, then upper bound is not unique, and similarly if lower bound exists, then lower bound is not unique. Okay. So if U is an upper bound of S, then U plus 1, U plus 2 all are upper bounds of S. Okay. And similarly if V is an lower bound of S, then V minus 1, V minus 2, V minus 3 all are lower bounds of S. So if upper bound exists, then upper bound is not unique, and if lower bound exists, then lower bound is not unique. Okay. So next example. Let us consider the set of all real numbers which are greater or equal to 2. Okay. So here 2, this is the set S. Okay. Here 2 is a lower bound. 2 is a lower bound of the set S. Okay. And obviously this set has no upper bound. So this set is unbounded above. So this is unbounded above. Unbounded above and bounded below. Bounded below. Okay. So this is unbounded above set and bounded below set. So obviously this set is an example of unbounded set. Unbounded set. So next example. Example 3. So let us consider the set S of those real numbers which are bigger than minus 1. Okay. So obviously Obviously the set is bounded below but unbounded above, but here -1 is the lower bound and -1 does not belongs to the set S. Okay, so this is an example of unbounded set. Okay, example 4. So let us consider all those real numbers which are less or equal to 0, right? So here we consider the set of all those real numbers which are less or equal to 0. So obviously 0 is an upper bound of the set S. This is an upper bound of S, but this set has no lower bound. So this is unbounded below but bounded above. So this set is bounded above but unbounded below. Unbounded below. Okay. So again this set is an example of unbounded set. Unbounded set. Okay. Okay. So let us consider a set S, those real numbers which are strictly less than 1. So here we have seen that 1 is an upper bound of S. So obviously 2 is another upper bound. Of S. Okay. So if a set has an upper bound, then that set has more than one upper bound. So natural question arises, if we take the set of all upper bounds, which one is the least? Okay. So this observation motivates us to define next definition. Okay. So next definition. So we define least upper bound or supremum of a set. Okay. So let S be a non-empty subset of R. And we also assume that S be bounded above. So since S is bounded above, so S has an upper bound. An element U belongs to R is called a least upper bound or supremum of S if U is an, first of all, upper bound. If U is an upper bound of S. Okay. Second, U is least upper bound. So if that set has more than one upper bounds, then U must be least. So if V is another upper bound, of S, then U must be least. Then U must be less or equal to V. Okay. Okay. So least upper bound means it is upper bound as well as it is least upper bound. Okay. So that is the definition of least upper bound or supremum of a set S. Okay. So next observation, observation, let u1 be a least upper bound or supremum of S. Okay. Next question is that the element u1 is unique or not. That means if a set is bounded above, then whether the set has more than one least upper bounds or not. Okay. So if possible, we assume that we assume that u2 is another least upper bound of S. Okay. Given u2 is least upper bound, so u2 is upper bound, obviously upper bound, so u2 is upper bound. Okay. So u2 is upper bound, and it is also given that u1 is least upper bound. So u1 is least upper bound and u2 is upper bound. So by definition of least upper bound, since u1 is least, so u1 must be less or equal to u2. Okay. Again, given that u1 is an least upper bound of S, that means u1 is also an upper bound of S. So u1 is an upper bound of S. Okay. And u1 is an upper bound and u2 is a least upper bound. Since u2 is the least upper bound, so u2 must be less or equal to u1. Okay. Now we apply law of trichotomy. This implies is by law of trichotomy u1 must be equal to u2. So if a set has a least upper bound, then the least upper bound is unique. So observation, if least upper bound exists, then least upper bound is unique. Okay. Okay. So next we define greatest lower bound. We have already seen that if a set has an lower bound, then the lower bound is not unique. So if V is a lower bound of a set S, then V minus 1 is obviously another lower bound. So now let us collect all the lower bounds of the set S. Okay. So natural question is that which element is the greatest among the all lower bounds. Okay. So these observations help us to define the next definition, greatest lower bound or infimum of a set S. Okay. So let S be an non-empty subset of R and is be bounded below. Okay. So an element V is called greatest lower bound or infimum of the set S if an element is called greatest lower bound if. So first of all, it is a lower bound. Okay. If V is an lower bound of S. Okay. Next condition, if T is another lower bound of S, then V must be greater than T. That is, T is less or equal to V. Okay. So an element V is called greatest lower bound or infimum of a bounded below set S if the element V is a lower bound first of all, and if T is another lower bound, then T must be smaller than V. That is, V is greater than T, then V is called greatest lower bound. So greatest lower bound means it is lower bound as well as it is greatest. Okay, greatest and as well as the lower bound. In other words, it is called infimum of a set S. Okay, if greatest lower bound or infimum exist, if greatest lower bound or infimum exist, then it is unique. Then it is unique. Okay. If a non-empty set S has the supremum or greatest lower bound, then it is denoted by sup S. So sup S means the supremum or least upper bound of S if exists. And similarly we can define infimum of S is the element infimum of the set S if exists. Okay. So these two are the notations. So if a set S has the supremum, then it is denoted by sup S, and if a set S has the infimum, then it is denoted by inf S. Okay. So next some examples. Some examples. The first example, we consider set of elements 1 by n. Set of elements are like 1 by n, where n belongs to set of natural numbers. Already we have seen that that 1 by n less or equal to 1 and strictly bigger than 0. Okay. So here 1 is an upper bound and 0 is an lower bound. Okay. So later we will prove that 1 is supremum of S and 0 is the infimum of S. Okay. And here the supremum 1 belongs to the set S, but the infimum 0 does not belongs to the set S. Okay. So example 2, let us consider all those real numbers which are bigger than 0 and less or equal to 1. Okay. So here 1 is an upper bound of S and 0 is an lower bound of S. Claim 1 is the supremum of S. If 1 is not supremum, okay, so then there is the element V such that V must be less than 1 and V is the supremum of S. Okay. Now V is strictly less than V plus 1 by 2 and strictly less than 1. So if 1 is not least upper bound, then there exists an upper bound V which must be less than 1, and since V plus 1 by 2 lies between 0 and 1, so V plus 1 by 2 belongs to S. Okay. So if V is an upper bound of the set S, then there exists an element v plus 1 by 2 which is bigger than the upper bound, which is not possible by definition. Okay, so 1 is the least upper bound, and similarly the element 0 is the infimum of the set S, and here both the supremum and infimum belong to the set S. Okay. Later we will discuss more examples. Thank you.